Hi, this is Marlon with another video on using the Mevo camera in a live stream situation. Today I want to ask the question, who should consider purchasing a Mevo and who would it serve best? So here are some of the thoughts I have on that. Number one, I think medium to small venues would be greatly helped on using this. At our church, we have a small building. And when I say small to medium, we're talking about a church size, probably 60 to maybe 200, depending upon the building, but a stage that's maybe 30 or 40 feet wide. The Mevo camera would be able to do that. So I'm talking about churches, also small businesses. If you're a business and you have to do a lot of training for your employees, the Mevo camera is great. Bring it into the staff room. You have someone demonstrating something, you can record it. Then you can share it with your employees. You can stream it with those employees that are not there, and you can automatically, just in one streaming, you can also capture that same event and leave it up on a server for your employees to look later. Here's an interesting one, funeral homes. I went to a funeral and I noticed they had a camera, kind of like an eye in the sky type of camera. And I think the Mevo camera would work really well in a funeral home. Again, most funeral homes are small. They fit maybe 100 people. They're nice and narrow. For my grandmother's funeral, we used the Mevo camera at the church, and it's nice, it's small, it's inobtrusive. I even used it at another, at the burial ground. It was indoors. So funeral homes. The third one would be seminar speakers. Maybe you're a speaker that you do a lot of seminars and a lot of training, and you'd like just to put the camera up there, pop on a microphone, an iRig 2, and your iPad in front, and you're capturing, you're streaming, you're sharing your content to those people that can't make it. I'm sure you can figure out ways to monetize that, maybe through selling subscriptions or events, something like that, or access to the file afterwards. Panel interviews is probably one of the interesting uses of this camera. If you set it up, again, about 10 to 15 feet away from two people talking to each other, you're able to use that camera to focus on maybe the interviewer and the interviewee, and show 3 or 4 shots of that. So interviews, musical performances. I used the Mevo recently at a concert for this high school, and they had a small ensemble of about 12 students, and the Mevo camera was right there in their adjudications, and it just worked really well. The other one is small group ensembles. Maybe you're a quartet, you play acoustic duo, maybe you're a folk singer. Boy, it's a really good option. Again, a small profile. Maybe you're a piano player, set that camera up a couple feet, it'll capture if you're playing a 6 or 7 foot grand. You place it in such a way, you can probably get the performer and the piano and the room. It's nice. And also soloists. Maybe you're a classically trained singer, or again, a folk singer, and you do some a cappella work. It's a great option. So the other question I want to ask is, why not just use a regular HD camera? Some of these cameras are very, very small and maybe just a little bit bigger than the Mevo camera, and the tripod. What's the difference? Well, the important thing about the Mevo that is really emphasized is the ease of use to stream. Now, the Mevo works well as an HD recorder, but where it really excels is its ability for just simple, literally streamlined streaming. The other thing that it can do, it can fake a multi-camera shoot just by its wide view, and then you can crop inside the application, the iOS device. You can, make it look like there's 3 or 4 cameras, and you can zoom and you can pan. And so it gives you that option that you cannot do live with a regular HD camera. Now, if you have an HD camera, you can zoom and you can pan, but it has to be done manually. The Mevo does it so quickly and easily. And lastly, the small footprint. I can't emphasize how small this little thing is, especially if you use a really small mic stand on a podium. Boy, you can hide it with flowers, you can hide it with something. It looks really well. But I want to ask this question now. Who would the Mevo not serve? Who should probably say, hey, that's nice, but it's not for me? I would say somebody that's looking for a very durable camera. The Mevo is really not intended to be worn like a GoPro. It's not really intended to be handheld. It's typically intended to sit on a tripod or a mic stand and just kind of stay there for the duration. So if you're looking for something where there's a lot of movement and you literally have to move the camera to track with somebody, the Mevo is not going to serve you very well. I did think about trying it. We're going to be on vacation pretty soon, and hey, what about, like, have those head cams? Well, again, the Mevo really is not that durable of a camera. I would be careful with it. It has a magnetic thing that holds it into the screw plate, but nothing like the GoPro that has this case. You can't go underwater with it. So the Mevo is definitely more stationary. Someone who's looking for an all-in-one solution may want to pass over the Mevo camera. If you're a church and you wanted to do, you have a really wide auditorium and you want to have a camera left, camera right, and camera center, the Mevo is not going to be able to do all that. It's very limited. It will not replace your standard zoom ability on a regular camera. Some of these cameras has 32 power zoom, and they do digital zoom. So the Mevo is really limited on how close it can get. Think of the Mevo like in the older days, or I don't say too old, but I do photography on the side, and the Mevo camera is like the 50 millimeter lens. It's great. And if you ever wanted to zoom on a fixed lens, you have to zoom with your feet. You walk closer to zoom in, and you walk back to zoom out. And I think the Mevo has limited zooming abilities, and if you really want it close, you got to get in close. If you want it far, you got to get it back far, but you can't stay in one place and do that great zooming. Lastly, if you're a person who does not own an iOS device, the Mevo camera is just going to be something you're may want to consider passing over if you don't want to invest in an improved iOS device. An iOS device would be certain iPhone 5s, I think is the lowest. Of course, iPhone 6 and higher, and iPhone 7. It didn't work on the iPhone 5C. So if you have a 5C, it's not going to work. So certain iPads, you got to check Livestream's website for that. So again, if you're an Android or you're a Windows phone user, you have to really walk into the world of the iOS, because that's the only interface that Mevo supports at this time. Lastly, the Mevo is really meant to, again, work with the iOS device, and but there is an option where the Mevo camera can be used as part of a bigger system. Say, for example, you have 3 cameras in your system, and you wanted to add the Mevo, kind of like a remote camera. The Mevo does have the ability to be used as an IP camera, but I believe it has to be used specifically with software that is supported by Livestream. Livestream is the company that makes the Mevo. So those are my thoughts about who should consider a Mevo, and maybe some thoughts on those who might say, hey, Mevo is probably not the best solution for us. So I hope that helps, and I look forward to any other questions you may have on the topic. Thanks for your time.